Welcome back to the Overcomer Podcast. Today I am joined by Jen Willin. So can't wait to do this podcast. Been talking about it. Very excited. So we'll just start off with the classic icebreakers that I have really liked doing with people. So number one, your favorite color?
Orange.
Orange, really? You don't hear a lot of orange.
You do not.
Okay.
I love it. Yep. It's warm. It's happy. I've always loved
that.
It. Yep.
Does it remind you of fall?
It does. I also love fall. Yep.
Boom. It works.
It ties in.
What about favorite food?
Also unique. Fresh peaches.
Fresh peaches?
Favorite food.
Really?
Yep. I'm that person that goes into the farmer's market and gets like a whole crate of peaches, and they're like, "What are you doing with these peaches? Are you baking?" And I'm like, "No, just eating them."
Just eat them right
I love
in the
them.
car.
Fresh. Yeah, well, and just fresh peaches. I love them.
Really? Now, do you put them in the fridge?
Yep. Or freeze them or
freeze them?
do whatever
Ooh.
with them. But yeah, that's my
Wow.
favorite. So
Man.
sad that it's seasonal, but always a good season.
Have you had the peach milkshake from Chick-fil-A?
Oh, yes.
You love that?
Love that.
My father's
Peach
a big
pie,
fan. Oh,
peach
yeah.
cobbler. But really just the peach itself.
Peach itself. Man, I love that. I love both those answers were unique. I'm glad. All right. Favorite memory?
Okay. So favorite childhood memory is definitely camping with my family. That's what we did we traveled also, did road trips and that type of thing, but very consistently through the summers, it was camping trips for weeks at a time. My parents weren't always there the whole time, but my grandparents also camped. So it was oftentimes we were there for days on end with cousins and grandparents, playing games, riding bikes, swimming, doing all the things. And I love that. So when I think back to my childhood, that's definitely a favorite memory. And of course, as time goes on, favorite memory, wedding day, obviously. It was the greatest day. When else do you have friends from high school, friends from college, family from out of town, everybody there, and the love and support that you feel, just the best. And then 3 births of my 3 boys, because those are probably at the very top of the list, because it is just like a living, breathing miracle that you get to witness each time. Yeah. And it still blows me away. So those are memories over the course of of time.
All right, I'm going to go off a tangent.
Okay.
Because I've talked to so many people, and people listening to will probably be this way, you hear so many wedding stories, and if you ask people, could you go back, they'd probably say no. Or probably like, we should have just eloped. I remember many times I've said that. So when you think of your wedding day, you think about it just joyous, happy. It was the greatest thing ever.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
We had a very simple wedding as far as I was not into the big event type thing, It was just simple and basic, but it was just so fun because everybody was there. And I feel like we were focused on the right things. And, Chad is from Seaford. The wedding was in Ohio. So we had so many people travel from Seaford, from this area, all the way to Ohio. So they, of course, were there a few days early, spending the night. It was just a whole weekend of fun. Yeah, I don't have any regrets about how our wedding weekend went.
That's happy.
I wouldn't change it.
What a way to start.
Yeah.
I love that. All right, so of course you already said about Ohio, so we'll go into, where'd you grow up?
So I grew up in Sugar Creek, Ohio.
Sugar Creek.
A very unique little town, which I have realized more, obviously, since leaving and not living there, how unique it actually is. Predominantly an Amish Mennonite community. It's very heavy in that. So just very conservative and quaint, and really, I could not have asked for a better place to grow up. It was a great place to grow up. Other than anyone who knows me well knows I wasn't a big fan of the Ohio winters. That's the downside of living in that area. But other than that, I grew up in a Christian home. My mom and dad raised us with God at the center of our family. I have one older brother. His birthday's today, actually.
Oh, sweet.
And that also was a great relationship. He's a few years older than me, and of course we had a few run-ins and the normal sibling stuff that you have. But for the most part, he just was a really good role model for me and an influence in my life. So, yeah, it was just my brother and I and my mom and dad. Yeah, it was great.
And of course, you already talked about your grandparents. Did they live close as well?
Yeah, both sides of my family. My mom and my dad both grew up there.
Oh, wow.
Their families all live there.
Awesome.
Yeah, it is. My dad was actually one of 9
Wow.
siblings, so I have a very large extended family on my dad's side. And some of my aunts and uncles did move out of state, but for the most part, got a very big extended family circle still there. My brother still lives there. My parents are still there. My grandfather on my mom's side was a pastor. So we grew up with a, as we got older, he retired and he was a retired pastor, but still just on both sides, just God at the center, and when you're a kid and you're growing up and even through high school, you don't realize what a gift that is, and sometimes even think, well, I don't have that big story of how my life just changed, from going this direction to that direction because God has always been at the center. But as time goes on and you grow and mature, I just think what a blessing that was, to be able to live in that. We did not grow up extravagantly by no means, but to feel and know that you are loved by your family and mostly by God every single day, it's such a gift.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I consider it a blessing, my upbringing, for sure.
It is.
Yeah.
Kids don't even, I know, looking back at my life, I didn't know how good I had it, of just how blessed I was. But I feel like that's how blessings can be about everything as you go throughout life of just, man, the Lord was right there the whole time.
Yep, absolutely.
And he protected me through so many things that I didn't even know.
That is true.
Things
that is so true.
I had no idea about. But, that's incredible. All right, so before we get into that, when you were younger, say 12, maybe you could have known earlier, what did you want to be when you grew up?
So when I was asked at that time, I would have said a mom at the top.
Oh, my goodness.
And a nurse. Those two things always went hand in hand.
Yeah.
I very quickly, as I went a couple times to visit some elderly, sick people with my parents in the hospital and witnessed a few things in the hospital, I remember telling my mom, I don't think I want to do the nurse thing anymore. But as a little girl, I think it's just the caring and the serving and, all of those things.
Yeah.
And I thought, I want to be a nurse and a mom. But always a mom was at the top of my list. So ironically as it is, you have those tough days of parenting and motherhood. And then I have stopped several times in my tracks kind of chuckling and been like, well, but, remember, you're living the dream right now. You're living what you always wanted to do. So, yeah, I can kind of chuckle about that sometimes.
I love that so much.
But I credit that to my mom. She was a great mom, and she did so much for us and did it so well. So I had such a great example to follow, and I was that little girl who wanted to be like her mom, and that's
beautiful.
Yeah, that's where that came from.
Oh, my goodness. I wish more people could feel that way.
Yeah, I know.
Take inspiration from their mom. Man, well, going from that, then we can go pretty much you grew up in a Christian household, everything like that. Did you always have that feeling of, I have a relationship with Jesus? Or was there a moment when it hit more than before? Or has it always been, Lord, I know you. You know me. I didn't know if there was anything that stuck out. Or
yeah, I mean, up until the age of 10, I would say 10 is when I had that moment where I publicly said, yes, this is what I want to do. I am accepting Jesus as my Lord and Savior. Up until that point, it was more, this is what we do. This is what I believe, but this is what my parents have taught us. We go to church. We do the church things. Jesus is at the center. That relationship is what it's about. But it was at 10 where I was like, okay, this is my faith too. I want to make this mine. I want this to be the trajectory that my life goes on, not just because it's what my mom and dad expect of me or want me to do, but because it's the choice that I'm making. So yeah, that was the time for me. And I have never in my life felt like God was absent from me.
Yeah.
For one, because he's never been.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that there are some times in some situations where people feel like he's not there.
Mm-hmm.
Always known that he's there. But of course, through high school, getting into college, as you're growing and learning, there definitely were times where I became more distant for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Whether the excuse was, oh, I'm so busy in high school, doing all the things, doing all the sports, all the extracurriculars, all those things, working, going to school, and going away to college, you didn't have that home base of church anymore. And I feel like that really was when the rubber met the road for me. Like, when you are stripped away from what you've always known and you don't have that community that's just always been there, you had to find it for yourself.
Yeah.
And I went to a Christian college, but I also learned very quickly that did not mean that what was being taught from a quote-unquote Christian perspective was necessarily what I believed and what I believed to be true. So I very quickly, as I started my college years, leaned back on my foundation and had to really plant my feet on what I knew was true and be able to stand up and defend my faith. And so I would say my college years were where I just really grew deeper in my faith. And from that point on, we're being sanctified every day. And it's just been a slow progression from that point on of God teaching me and growing me, and still times where I've been more distant than I should be for whatever reason, through hard times. Of course, you're saying, where are you, God? But knowing in my heart that he's always right there, and learning through some of those things. But I feel like the fact that I can look back, starting, if you want to say college, to where I am now, I know that I've grown, and that I think is what he asks of us.
Yeah.
Don't stay where you're at. Always keep learning, always keep growing. And so, yeah, I don't know if that answers your question.
Oh, no, I love that so much. I love it because I have struggled before I grew up in a Christian household. Everything was, we believe in God, we pray. And at a very young age, I felt I had a relationship with God. And getting older, coming to church or going wherever, and someone sharing their testimony of them going through rough things. And I'm like, man, I do not have a testimony. But over the years of that is a testimony itself. Like you talking like that, of you looking at your mom, you want to be like her, and seeing the different examples that you had in your life. And then now looking back at those of saying, and then you go into college and saying, if I didn't have that foundation, then who knows what could have happened. But I love that so much. That is just as powerful as any testimony.
It is. And I've had to learn that, like I'm sure you are too. And what it is a testimony to God's faithfulness, that he is faithful when you are seeking him. And that can be what somebody who has a story of a complete transformation needs to hear along their path, So, yeah, it's a process of learning to appreciate, when you don't have that complete 180 story, that it's just been a steady, faithful road. Yeah. But there's beauty in that.
And there is too of, I know maybe you have found it in yourself. I found it before that I could be more judgmental in times of my life when people are struggling through things, and I really, I can give them a very clear-cut answer of well, don't do it. Well, I've never done that before.
Yeah.
And I've come across horrible to people before because I haven't gone through anything like that before. Yeah. And so the Lord has convicted me many times of just because your testimony looks different, your life looks different.
Right.
We're all the same. And we all have sinned. That's why I love that verse of sin leads to death. And it is legit. We're all at the even playing field. And so no matter what, the Lord just wants your heart.
That's
wherever
right.
you are.
That's right.
And he wants you to walk with him. That's been something big in my life that I can clearly see from your life of I want to walk with the Lord. That's how I want to be remembered. And I definitely know that's how people see you, Jen. Well, here,
my heart.
Let me go off into Chad, your husband.
Yes.
How'd you meet Chad?
So I met Chad, his cousin. He had a first cousin who was one of my roommates in college. And I did not meet him, however, until our senior year of college. He had already graduated and was working in Virginia at the time. And my friend, who was his cousin, we actually went down to Virginia to visit his grandparents, and I went with her, and that's where I met him. And I was getting ready to graduate. I had a job lined up in Florida. That's where I was moving to. And I met him briefly there, moved to Florida, and it wasn't long until he was calling and wanting to chat and getting to know me. And I had a job that I loved. It was with a ministry that just fit very well with what I had gone to school for, and my heart was in that. But very quickly, my heart was dividing into two places. And it's just amazing how God worked that out. We did not date for long. Of course, it was long distance. I spent a lot of time in airplanes on the weekends through that season of life. His work didn't really allow him to travel much, so I was doing a lot of flying up here, and eventually he left his job in Virginia and came back to Seaford, where he farms with his family, has been doing that ever since. We got engaged, was it 6 months after dating? So that was quick, that was quick, but we very much were in a place where we were pursuing God, asking God, is this what you have for us? Both getting the answer of yes.
Yeah.
So in that time, he moved back to Seaford. I moved back to Ohio to plan a wedding. We got married 4.5 months later, and I moved over here. And that is where I've landed ever since. We've been here. We're probably going to be here the rest of our life with the farm. But I have a wonderful partner. We are very different in our personalities, but it works in a beautiful way. And that, of course, marriage is also a journey. We have grown and gone through some things that we probably would have chosen not to go through, but all of that has worked for a purpose, and we can see that, after we've gone through some of that. So, yes, love my marriage, love my husband. It's a beautiful thing.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yep.
I know definitely a word or words to describe your family is definitely hardworking. Come from a farm family.
Yeah.
And so when people say that, of course, like we know that in our church, but other people, I don't think they realize how much it is. It's your life. It's a part of your life so much.
It is.
And I know Chad and now the boys working with the farm, working with him, his family. You guys are hardworking people, which is just another testimony of itself of you appreciate hard work.
Yes.
When we live in a world that doesn't.
Yeah, it's true. And we are very, as far as our family goes, I would say it's more uncommon these days. We are very traditional in our roles.
Yeah.
Chad is working a tremendous amount of hours, especially now in the fall, a small farming operation, that's what it takes, and he is out there, boots on the ground, and I am at home keeping all of the other balls in the air, keeping the train moving, and it works, because like I said before, that was my dream. That was what I wanted to do. I feel like taking care of our home and managing all that goes with that and doing it well is my calling. That's what I was called to do. And that isn't the case for everyone. And, when you have different jobs and different things that are going on, it looks different for every family. But for our family, it's just amazing how God worked that out, putting us in the roles and in the place where I think our greatest strengths lie, and it works for our family. And I'm blessed to be able to be in the home taking care of all of those things that need to be done. So,
Oh, I love that so much. All right, you have 3 boys. So before you name any of them, which one is your favorite?
That's what they like to ask me. They're sure that one of these days they're just going to crack the code and
I love
out,
it.
but...
Normally they say the youngest, but it could be the first too. The middle one, I don't know.
No, not usually the middle, but...
So if you want to, you can say their names,
okay,
how old they are, if you remember how old they are.
Oh, yeah. I do. First of all, I don't think God could have given us 3 more different personalities in our children. I mean, that is the truth. They all have the last name Willin, but other than that, man, they are so different, which I love so much because it's just 3 completely different worlds. My oldest is Jack. He's about to turn 18 in 2 weeks. So, Jack Charles, he's a senior at Sussex Tech. Loves the farm, loves to work. He is a firstborn in every sense of the word. He is loyal. He is hardworking. He would do anything for me and for his dad. That's just who he is. Then we have Chase Daniel. He is 15. He's a 10th grader at Sussex Tech. And he is sharp in his mind. We have no idea where he gets that from. He does so well in school, and Chad and I are just like, oh, okay, that's awesome. Not sure where you're getting all that. But no, he's a great student. He loves to make us laugh. He's got a great sense of humor and just a joy. And then Luke Vernon is almost 12. His birthday comes right after Jack, so he's 11 now, almost 12, in 6th grade. So he just started middle school. And he is a live wire. He is full of energy. He is full of words and questions and so much life and just ready for anything. You know, he is ready to go. And he's the one we didn't know we needed, you know? Like he just came along at the end there and it's wonderful. It's great, the 3 different personalities.
I love that so much. He's the one that we didn't know we needed. Oh, I love that. Because I know probably Jack and Chase just rag on him. And
they do?
You were the extra add-on.
Yeah, they do.
But you guys don't see it like that.
No
I love
way.
that so much.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I know personally all 3 of those boys are incredible.
Well, thank you.
I wouldn't say it to their face.
No, can't do that.
They all have their own different personality, and they all... Me and Ailey just helping out youth group. Oh, we love them so much. They're the best. But I mean, that example of you and Chad. I mean, they are you guys, just little baby versions of you guys. But they are so awesome.
Well, thank you.
Oh, it's incredible. Like I said, I wouldn't say it to their face, but I'll say it here and other people can hear it.
We'll take it.
Oh my goodness. Okay, well, since we got on the topic of your sons, 2 of your boys go to public school?
Yes.
All right, if we could talk about public school. So from a Christian mom perspective, living in the world that we do, you have homeschool, you have, of course, your own, I say like fancy, like private schools, and then and public school.
Right.
And there could be different options, but so public school, from a Christian mom's perspective of why'd you guys decide that? Was it kind of like the kids' decision, or what kind of thought did you and Chad talk about to have them go into public school?
Well, I will say, so Luke is at Epworth Christian. So they did go to Epworth Christian School, the older boys who are in public school now. They did go through the 8th grade. Why public school? So it wasn't their decision per se. We definitely asked them their thoughts about it. And granted, Sussex Tech is a unique public school in that it has the trades and that type of thing. And for Jack, that was really appealing to him because he kind of knows what he wants to do. He wants to go the farming route, and you know their environmental program really fit perfectly with that. But it was definitely a struggle to ultimately make that decision. You know, you hear all the things, you hear all the stories, and we're obviously aware of what goes on in the world, especially with teenagers these days. What we came back to when we made the decision, Jack really did want to go to Tech. Like that really was his heart, and we thought and prayed about it. We did interview at another Christian high school, and he was accepted to that. So the options were there. But I really think what it came down to was we had confidence in who they were. And we know that they know who they are and whose they are.
Yeah.
And that has been taught by us, but also a great foundation given to them from an education perspective at Epworth Christian School. Shout out to them.
Yeah.
They do an awesome job of academically teaching. Yes, that is superb, but also the classes are small enough. The teachers just invest in their lives.
Yeah.
And they, in middle school, are already learning how to defend their faith, which I was not doing that in middle school by no means,
Yeah.
But the Bible classes that they take, and they incorporate the faith into all of the subjects. And so they're constantly thinking, well, how does God fit into this? How does God fit into science? How does God fit into math? So that foundation that was laid, we just came to the place where we had a piece that, yes, they are going to go into a huge high school where they are very much the minority as far as how they live their life.
Yeah.
But they can stand on the foundation that they have and be a light and make an impact on kids who see the way that they go throughout their day, the way they interact with their teachers. And it's been good and amazing to me that just the fact that they are there and they don't curse, that makes them stand out like a sore thumb. Now, there's a group of them. I mean, they're not the only ones by no means. But in a class of 25 kids, oftentimes they're the only ones that have a clean mouth, that show respect to a teacher. And, the feedback that we get from teachers, they see that. And, they're not out there with their mouths necessarily just evangelizing.
Yeah.
But in their actions, they're doing it. And I love that.
Yeah.
And, so it definitely, when Chase started high school, it wasn't just, we just weren't like, well, that's where Jack went. That's obviously where Chase is going to go. I think it's going to be a child by child, situation. I don't know necessarily what Luke will do when he enters high school. We'll have to go through the same process, of praying it through and talking it through with him and figuring out the best place that God has for him. But I do think, especially as kids get older, they can handle standing in a world that they are not similar to, and they're going to have to eventually anyway. Yeah. And so it's been good. It's been a really good experience, but it was a leap, especially for me, from Mom's heart to be like, all right, here you go.
Throw it to the wolves.
Yeah,
I know.
It can feel that way. But I think if you have given them that foundation, it's good for them to be tested, to be held accountable to what they know is right, and it really has been great for them.
Oh, I love that. That was a great answer.
Thank you.
I love that because everybody has different opinions on sending their kids to public school, Christian families, but I love that. I love the reason why of it is okay is because they know who they are. They know who has them in their hands, who their Lord and Savior is, who their ultimate Father is. I love that so much. That's great. And, more kids need that. Yeah. That's for sure.
Yep, I agree.
Man, I remember going to school, and it's so funny. You saying about cursing, that was the thing I got all the time. Yeah. Because you don't have to necessarily go out. I had friends, I hate to make this about myself, but just because talking about the boys in public school, I went to public school. Yeah. And I went pretty much for sports, but also to show kids that you can walk a Christian life. And you can be a lot happier, more fulfilled. You can actually spend time with your family and not just run off and do stupid things. Yes. But the majority of the questions that I got all 4 years of high school was, Cody, why don't you curse? Yes. And I mean, that is, you don't have to go out to them and say, you're going to hell unless you believe in Jesus. Them just asking that, then I can say, let me tell you.
Exactly.
Yeah. I love that so much.
Yep. It's such a simple thing. At least it feels that way to us and to them. That's just who they are. Yeah. But it really can speak volumes to people who are genuinely why do you talk so differently? Yeah, that's great.
And it does help a young kid or even high school teenager where instead of them going up to someone and asking them, why don't you believe in Jesus? Or kind of being the person pushing it, if they get asked, then they're kind of in a corner where they're like, well, I have to answer.
Yeah.
I have to be bold right now.
Yeah.
I love that so much.
And it also can go the other way, which you probably experienced too, where it's not so much curiosity as you can get kind of ragged on, for not sounding like everybody else, for not just flying off the handle if it's a bad call, So there's that too, which obviously, who's a fan of that when you're a teenager? But that's part of it, That's part of building and strengthening and all of that. So
it is. I eventually I want to interview a high school kid, and I'm thinking about Jack.
Yes.
But and kind of talk about, and listeners, whoever's watching this, many of a couple people or 3 people, but
no, so many more than that.
But anyway, I'd love to sit down and just go through those things, because I remember things of public school. I was a Christian throughout it, and different things that kids say where they don't just rag on you, they try to make you do those things.
Yeah.
And so they'll ask, oh, why don't you do this? Oh, you believe in Jesus? Okay, well, what if you're in this situation? Would you do it then? And just the questions and the pushing stuff. So eventually, I'd love to do that.
And I think it would just be, from whoever you're interviewing, such a great perspective, because I think a lot of people would just be amazed at the types of things that they encounter, that they're up against. It would be a great perspective to hear, for sure.
Oh, yeah. Well, of course, we live in a world right now where a lot of older people, and not even older people, but people who are married, have kids, have grandkids, because the media and everything right now is all about our generation is just completely against God. And it's going down the tubes. They want to be more of like a socialist society. But there's a lot of kids who are living for Christ.
There are.
And they're trying their hardest. And I mean, I always say to the youth kids, scientists say that we're always evolving, but I think we're just trying to find more ways to sin. And so we are completely going the opposite way, because we're just finding easier ways to sin, easier ways to get around. And I think you can see that through generation of generation. I know I'm going on a rant, but taking out the 10 Commandments from schools. You're not allowed to have a Bible, not allowed to pray in public. I think you can definitely see. And for them to say, oh, that's not the reason, no.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree completely.
But just rounding all that whole thing off of having your boys in that school.
Yeah.
And being that they don't have the other kids who don't know Christ, they don't have a Bible, they don't have anything like that, but they have one of your boys that they can talk to. They're legit the ambassador of Christ in that public school.
Yes.
Which is awesome.
Sure.
As we should all be, no matter where we are.
Yep.
And so talking about boys, of course, public school, but I want to talk about sports. They all play sports, right?
They do, yep.
So that's a lot.
Yep.
That's a lot to do, a lot of travel, a lot of everything.
Yep.
And so with that, I don't know if any of your boys about specifically baseball, travel ball.
Yep.
Weekend games.
Right.
A lot of extra stuff.
Yeah.
If you'd want to share any of what your opinion has been, if it's changed, if it's the same.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yep. So, 2 of our boys have been involved with travel ball. They've all played school sports all throughout and rec sports for the city, which is just a little different because there's not a lot of weekend games. It's weeknights, and so it's kind of a different ball game. In school, of course, you're not having Sunday things going on typically. But with travel sports, Chase did it. He started at 8 and played through 8th grade. So what is that? 14, I guess. A lot of years. And that was a local team. We say travel ball because you are playing in tournaments with teams that travel to play in that tournament. Luckily, we live in a place where you can be on a travel team and not have to travel a lot, because we have a lot going on here, which was appealing to us because farming does not allow us to actually travel. So we're not. So when I'm saying my boys play travel ball, we are not traveling. We are not getting on an airplane going places. 2 hours most. You're going to tournaments. Chase loved it. It was a little different situation. Chad was actually a coach of that team, so he had a lot to say on the schedule, he kind of, was able to help set the tone and the environment. I learned quickly when we first started that setting can very much be a mission field. Mm-hmm. For Chase, of course, but also for me with the parents that I'm sitting with. And it was a very eye-opening experience to the world of baseball, just the perspectives that parents have of their kids playing. And it wasn't necessarily how we were looking at it. So it was a lot of figuring out, like, okay, this is a whole little world in and of itself. But it was a good experience with Chase. Luke started playing, and for whatever reason, and I do chalk this up, I think, to God working in Chad and I. Because, we talked about you have that growth. You learn things along the way, and you're convicted at different times about different things. And with Chase, we did miss church on Sundays. We looked at it as, we committed to this team and this is what they're doing. We always made it a point to make sure that the kids knew this is not more important than going to church, but we did make a commitment. So we need to go do this on Sundays. Yeah. And we did that. Our whole family would go. And as Chase's time went on, I just became getting really uncomfortable with that. One, because Luke was getting older and saying, well, I want to go to church. I don't want to go to the ball tournament on Sunday. And so then we kind of started splitting. So one of us would take just the baseball player to the tournament, and the rest of us would go to church, which worked. As Luke is now coming up, to make a long story short, it just got to the place where we said it's no longer a fit for us. We don't want to be divided on Sundays. We don't want one parent to be going and doing one thing and one doing the other, or sometimes just Luke going because of commitments that we both had at church on Sundays. He really didn't like that. Luke did it, and now he's torn with, okay, I know this is my team, but I really just want to be at church with my family. Yeah. So that was God working in our hearts, saying, okay, let's reevaluate. Why are we doing this? Yeah. Is it really what's right for you right now? So we are no longer a part of the travel ball community, and everybody's situation is different. I am not here to say that you can't play travel ball and still have church as your ultimate priority. That it's not the building, it's not that at all. You can go and be a light and be church to that team that you're on for sure. But for us, it has been, we've just felt such a peace and a freedom in letting that part go, knowing that they have all these other ways, school ball, rec ball, little league, whatever it is, all these other opportunities to use their athletic ability to be on a team. Because we love sports. I think sports are super important, especially for boys, to learn how to work together. Competition is great. It's in their blood. They want to win. They want to compete. Yep. That's just in them. So I love that part of it. I don't at all ever want to take that away. But for us, we've come to a place where this time on Sunday mornings where we are together as a family going to church, it's a coveted time. Yeah. And I credit our Crossroad family for that too, for helping us get to that place, for the words Pastor Rick has spoken into our lives, and for friends around us who have given their encouragement and input, and just being in a church where we just want to be. We just want to be, we are so looking forward to Sunday mornings and just being there, being filled and being, shepherded and encouraged for whatever we have in the week ahead. When you take that away, it just got to the point where we were missing that so much. So it's been kind of a full circle for us. I don't think I'd say I regret what we did and how we did it, because we learned a lot of things along the way. And I do think Chad especially, in like the coaches circle, was really able to also be an influence in some pretty dark places because of what we stood for. So that's our story. It's obviously unique for everybody, but that's kind of where we've come to.
I love that. So I would definitely say anybody listening, because I've known so many travel ball families, and there was a time when we almost did it, but we kind of came to the same conclusion that you guys did. And everybody's situation is different. But I would just say, if you do feel convicted, or if there is a piece of you, or a piece of you that does not feel peace, then you need to sit down with the family and talk and pray together about that.
And truly say, why are we doing this? What is the reason?
Yeah.
And very quickly we were able to say, well, that's not a good reason anymore.
Yeah.
So
it's true. It's of course we live by Sports the Beach, and we live by a lot of places, and all the hotels every weekend are packed, jammed with all the kids and their parents. And I've talked to the parents before, and I've talked to those people before, and I'm just like, I'm very different than you. And so that place can be, and 100%, I know you guys planted seeds in kids' lives and parents talking to them because you had to. You were there. But you got to do it. And so it's not like it was for nothing, but I do think everybody has to. Because, I mean, it's a lot.
It is a lot.
It is a lot.
It is a lot. And fighting that battle of you have a good athlete and you're being told, well, if they don't play travel ball, then how are they ever going to, okay, I think that if they're meant to be a professional athlete, which not many can do that, it's a very small window, then it will happen regardless of where you're traveling to and what, but anyway, we don't need to get rolling on that.
I agree with that. No matter what, if the Lord says that's going to be that way, then it'll be that way.
Yes. There's nothing we can do then to make that happen quicker or easier for that kid, just point him to Jesus. That's that's my philosophy. Just point him to Jesus, and however that looks, and let him work in them. And
So I didn't ask you this before, but going back to you and Chad, when you both got a yes from God that you guys were going to get married and that this was able to go through. Me and Ailey have a very similar thing.
Yeah.
It was the same as that.
Yeah.
And so God talks to people in different ways. I know people who they could see a particular animal or a number or something like that. And that's how the Lord speaks. And I believe he can speak any way he wants.
Sure.
He created everything. He can speak through his creation, whatever he wants to do. I personally have never heard an audible voice. It has always been based off of conviction and then you going into peace. Having that peace that surpasses all understanding of there's absolutely no way. I couldn't have done peace to myself. It had to be from God. I know it 100% fact. And when you guys both got that yes, could you feel that peace? Did you hear something? If you could describe that.
For me personally, it was God speaking through other people.
Oh, yeah.
In my life. And I remember so well the conversation in the morning. I was in Florida, and Chad had proposed, and I was trying to figure out how in the world. Even though I knew this was who God had for me, and I had complete peace of that, I was trying to figure out, but how is this possibly going to work? He's a farmer in Delaware. He's not leaving Delaware. He's not leaving Sussex County. I am in Florida doing this job that I love and that I feel so strongly that you called me to, God. And now I need to tell my boss, who so graciously hired me right out of college and, took a chance on me, that I'm leaving, and I didn't have a peace in that. That was a really hard conversation to have to go into.
Yeah.
And she said to me, we're going to make this work. We are going to make this work. You don't have to quit your job. How about we do this remotely? And that's what I did. And so little things like that, that brought such a calm to the storm in my heart, knowing that, God spoke through her and said, this part is going to be okay too. Just keep trusting me, And so we packed up everything, and I was able to keep doing that in Ohio while we planned the wedding, and I brought it here and kept doing it. right up until, we started thinking about having a family and that type of thing. So, and even through my parents, and just, I was very open with them about how I was feeling and wondering, even prior to Chad proposing, just their encouragement and their perspective on the situation and them speaking into my life is really what brought me a clarity and a peace and a calm. And of course, just my daily walking with Jesus. I remember, there was a time in my life, like late teens, I would say, where I really got hung up on, how am I going to know what your will is for my life, God? I don't want to be outside of your will, how in the world am I supposed to know for sure? Even in college, I kind of battled with that. Like, should I stay here? I kind of wanted to go on the mission field, and but I didn't want to make a mistake of doing something that he didn't want me to do. And through family members, through teachers that I had there, they just repeated to me, when you're daily walking with Jesus, when you're in his word and you have that daily peace, then as you're making decisions, as you're taking your requests and your concern to him, it's the peace that he's giving you through all of that you can know 100%, yes, you are in his will. This is where he wants you to be. So, I am, that is a big thing for me too, like the peace that he can bring in the midst of, I cannot rationalize this out in my head, how this is going to work. So when he would drop people like my boss and say, it's going to be okay, we can still make this work. Those are the things and the ways that he definitely spoke to me through that.
I love that so much.
Yeah.
I do. I find that so interesting of how God can talk to anybody any way he wants. And that's something that I've always found of, Lord, am I in your will? But I love it. If you're in his will, if you are with him daily,
yes,
he's going to tell you something.
Exactly.
He's going to have someone else tell you something. So as we kind of wrap it up, of course, I wanted to interview you just because you're an amazing mom, in my opinion, in many people's opinions. And so getting your perspective on different things. And so kind of a final question of being a mom, having 3 boys, taking care of everything around the house, sports, travel, everything like that. How do you keep yourself grounded now because you do so much pouring out to your kids, to family, to Chad, to work, everything like that? How do you get poured into the most? And not feeling guilty of saying, I'm going to take time for myself to be with the Lord. So just where does that come from?
Yeah. Well, for me, I am a morning person. I like to get up early. I wouldn't say that I have always liked to get up early as I do now, but when I had little ones especially, I very quickly realized that I needed that time. If I was able to get up, get a little exercise in, get my devotion time in, have a cup of coffee, just have a few moments of quiet before everything started, it made me a better mom. And so I started doing that, and it seemed crazy at the time. And I remember Chad being like, what are you doing up this early? And I know that sometimes it seems crazy because I still do it. It became a pattern, and I covet that time, and I'm willing. So if I go to bed late, I usually still do it. I still get up early because it's worth the sacrifice of me being able to have a few moments of calm to just get myself together, get myself right. I'm more patient. I'm more understanding. I can just function better throughout the day when I have sacrificed that time, that sleep time, to give to my well-being, to give to Jesus, to speak to me. So that is something that, and I do not recommend that for everybody. Like, that's kind of how I'm wired. I like mornings. I'm not like forcing myself up every morning, but I think finding a time that works for you, whether it's after you put your kids to bed, just taking 30 minutes in a quiet space and, just giving that time for whatever, if it's listening to a podcast or reading a devotional book or listening to worship music, whatever works for you.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a long, drug-out thing, but some set-aside time for you and Jesus is, I think, essential. And also with that, surrounding yourself And it goes for my kids too. I'm always telling them, surround yourself with good people, with good friends, people of like-mindedness. And it's true for us too. That when you have that circle of friends who have got your back, who are there for you, who, we go out to lunch and we can just pour our hearts out to each other and encourage each other in ways that, you need to be encouraged. And at the same time, surrounding yourself with people who are older than you, people who have walked through what you're going through already and have the hindsight of telling you, I've been through it. Here's what I did. Here's what I might do differently. And just have ways to encourage you. So I think just having a broad range of people that you surround yourself with and making those relationships a priority, because that's hard too, as adults to prioritize our own friendships. And that's been something for you guys, the stage you're in, I feel like it's even harder because Callum requires you for everything. There is no independence yet. And so you are consumed by that. So it's hard in that time. But even in that stage, if it's just a text, you're texting your friends, I'm thinking of you. How can I pray for you today? And then them doing that back to you, just having that connection outside of your home with fellow believers. But then, as your kids get older and get more independent, I do the Bible study here at church, which is wonderful to be taught in that way, and mostly making church a priority. My kids are very much aware that mom needs Sunday mornings to learn to focus. Like, don't talk to me while Pastor Rick is preaching, just allow yourself to have that time too and make that a priority, because it makes the biggest difference for the rest of your week. And and there's so many other ways too, but for me, those are at the top of my list of ways that you just stay filled and stay on track.
So I'd say that was already pretty much incredible advice that I know that me and Haley will take so personally too. But do you have one little snippet, anything, if you could, for the dozens of people listening, one piece of advice from your life?
Oh my goodness.
It's a big question.
It is a big question. I think for me, and I'm not going to be able to think of the exact reference. It's in Psalm, a verse I love. May the meditations of my heart and the words of my mouth be pleasing in your sight, O Lord, my rock and my redeemer. Meaning, what we're putting into our head, what we're filling ourselves with, the people we're surrounding ourselves with, the teaching that we're getting, the people online that we're listening to, all those things that we're putting into our hearts. Really our faith is a heart issue.
Yeah.
So let that be pleasing to God. There's so much, and with technology and with your kids and everything that they're taking in, I tell my boys all the time, let what you're putting in be pleasing to God, because that's what's going to come out. What is in your heart is what you're going to live out. That's just how it is. That's how we're wired. And so I would say, just be filling yourself with the things of God, and then let that pour out into all that you do, whether it's parenting or life as a teenager or as a new dad or, whatever stage you're in. That's something that I would say to focus on.
Perfect. All right. Well, I don't think I could end this any better. Okay. So we'll see you next time.
Thank you.